Thank you very much, members of the press. I'm Babu Owino, Member of Parliament in Embakasi East constituency, and I'm here with Honorable Ronald Karauri, Member of Parliament, Kasarani constituency. Today we are here to respond to the unfortunate statements made by the Cabinet Secretary, Lands, that is Madam Alice Wahome. And I want to say that the statements by the CS, by the Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome, that the judgment of the Environment and the Land Court is final in light of a pending notice of appeal in the Court of Appeal and a further record of appeal filed in the Court of Appeal, is not only demeaning, utterly embarrassing, lacks substance, and is a total insult to the intelligence of the people of Kenya. To be precise, the people of Embakasi East constituency and the people of Kasarani constituency. And it is very unfortunate for such statements to come from the mouth of an advocate, an alleged advocate. And I want to say that, going by the doctrine of lis pendens, it is clear that when a matter is before a court of law, then the status quo must always remain. It is quite unfortunate for the Cabinet Secretary to come out in public and pronounce herself as if she is the Court of Appeal, that the decision that was made was final, and she has not even bothered to consider that the appeal will have an outcome. Irrespective of how the appeal is going to come out, if the appeal is in favor or is upholding the judgment, then we still have one more chance to proceed to the Supreme Court. But if the appeal is in the favor of the residents, in our favor, then we will be prejudiced if at all eviction has taken place, if at all people have been evicted and demolition has taken place. And I want to advise the Cabinet Secretary, Alice Wahome, that it is not your work to incite Kirima's family, or rather to coerce the residents of both Embakasi and Kasarani constituencies to come on the table to negotiate. They can never negotiate under duress. They can never negotiate when there is undue influence. They can only negotiate if their right state of mind is clear. And if you are holding brief as the Cabinet Secretary for the Kirimas, then you better resign. You come to court, because that is where things are as we speak. The way we speak today, we have received orders, an injunction restricting anybody from evicting residents of both Kasarani and Embakasi East constituencies. And the orders are running up to the 29th of January. And as members of the media, you will extract the orders. Their matters public. They are public documents. You can get them from the court. We have the orders, and we want to tell our people to be calm. Do not panic. This is just but a storm in a cup of tea. Do not worry. I know at this particular moment, there are so much butterflies in your stomach, and you may be thinking that there is no way out. But I want to assure you that we are with you. You elected us to fight for you. We will serve you. It is our role, our right to deliver to you as our constituents. The statements which were made is totally unwarranted by the Cabinet Secretary. And the question is, who invited you to come and mediate on this matter? You are saying that the government will not be involved, and I want to remind you that the sole role of the government, number one, is to protect her citizens. But it seems that you don't care. To make it even worse is that you are a woman who doesn't even care whether the children will be sleeping in the cold and it is a rainy season, they'll be thrown out, schools will be demolished, churches will be demolished, houses will be demolished. Honorable Ronald Karauri and myself, we will do everything humanly possible, and we will cover everything, just like the skirt of a woman that covers the most important parts. We are going to do that, and we are going to cover you, and we are going to fight for you. So as things are, we have the orders, and those orders are going to help us. We are still waiting for further orders in the fresh suit that was filed, and also in other appeals that were filed. We didn't invite the government on the negotiation table because we knew that this is a matter that as members of parliament would deal with it. And even if we were to negotiate, it is not the role of the minister, nor the president, to come on the table to negotiate. Nobody has appointed them. They've self-appointed themselves. And that's why you see the cabinet secretary, Alice Wahome, making unfortunate statements in public, now retracting that they should not even be on the table to help the residents negotiate. And therefore, we know the character of the CS Alice Wahome in intermeddling with estates of deceased persons. There's a case of Mbiu Koinange that she was adversely mentioned because she was the advocate in record when an amount of 284 million Kenya shillings disappeared from the estate's accounts. And this case, even during our interview, it came up. We know the case was being followed by EACC. So when it comes to issues, negotiations, we will tell our residents the right time if we are to negotiate. Right now, we are trying to find out who is the rightful owner of the property, of the land in question. And according to the best of our recollection, the owner of this property is one Domenico De Masi. And the children are here, Bernardo De Masi, and is being intimidated already by the DCI, and we want to warn the DCI to keep off this issue, because we know that there are certain goodies that are being dangled for different members of the society, both within the executive and also in other arms of government. So DCI should keep off. He should not intimidate our client, should not intimidate the real owner of this parcel of land. The fact that the CS talked yesterday and said that this land was pronounced by the court that it belonged to one Kirima, that alone is not sufficient for us. That alone is not enough for us to believe so. And Kenyans should treat such statements with a lot of contempt. So we will negotiate after determining who the rightful owner of this parcel of land is. That is when we will come on table. And it is nobody else will lead that negotiation. It is Honorable Karauri and myself who will lead the negotiation. So everybody running away to go start negotiations, all that is balderdash and gibberish.
The statements by the CS and the statements by you are contradicting, and the residents are at question. Is there any investigative process that maybe you have begun so that to establish who exactly is the rightful owner of that land?
Definitely, the person who will determine the rightful owner of the land is the court of law. And as we've said, that there is a process that has been instituted, a process that is that has started in a court of law through a fresh suit. In addition to that, there's an appeal. The fact that a lower court made a decision, that is the Environment and the Land Court, made a decision that the land belonged to one Kirima against the residents, does not mean that that land belonged to the Kirimas, because there's another person who's come out to say that the land belonged to him and the family, a person called Bernardo, whose father was Domenico De Masi, who is now deceased. So we have to exhaust all the appeal mechanisms. After court of appeal, we will have to move to the Supreme Court in case of anything. Then there's also a fresh suit that is starting at the Environment and the Land Court. That suit will determine who the rightful owner of the land is. And as far as we are concerned, the residents should not panic. Do not panic. Do not be at crossroads. We are your leaders. If we tell you about this issue of the land, trust us. Do not start panicking. Some are going to sleep at the door of the Kirimas. Don't go there. Stay in your house. We told you that, as Mheshimiwa said it rightfully, we promised you that you will eat Christmas in your houses. Sasa hapo itakuwa ni wapi? Mwalimu wa maths hapo ni wapi? So unaona, already we have the orders that is now taking us up to the 29th of January, after which fresh orders will be issued. And even before that,